Look, it's 2018. Is there really a such thing as heels and faces?
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just gonna keep you right where you at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Break It Down with Brian H. I am your host, Brian H. Waters. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the Wrestling Realm on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you subscribe to our content on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Podbean. Guess what? Becky Lynch. The fans are cheering her. They want Becky to be heel. When I say they, I mean the company. But no, the fans do not want to boo Becky. They want to cheer. All week there's been pictures, there's been tweets where you really cheering Becky. Did you really support Becky? And guess what? People are saying, yeah, we supported you, but more or less, during the match, SmackDown concluded with the main event being Carmella versus Charlotte for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship, which was an incredible match, by the way. But during the match, Toronto was saying, we want Becky. So, and I got to shout out my brother Corey. We're talking about these crowds. So, you have your New York crowds, your Chicago crowds, your LA crowds. Those are your crowds where you consider them smart marks, the ones who tend to go against the grain. So the thought is, last week they were in they were in New York, in Brooklyn is that, and the fans were booing Charlotte and cheering Becky Lynch because, after all, that's where the smart marks are. Well, they was in Toronto, and you could make Toronto's a good wrestling town. Home of Trish Stratus, home of WrestleMania 6, home of WrestleMania 18, which in my opinion was one of the greatest WrestleMania build-up matches in history, Hogan vs. Rock. But you can make the argument that's a smart wrestling town as well. Nonetheless, the fans were cheering for Becky Lynch. They were saying during the match, we want Becky. And mind you have Charlotte and Carmella putting on an incredible match. And I have to give them credit. They didn't crap on the match at all. Charlotte would get the victory, but if you watch Carmella, she's getting so much better in the ring. And you watch Charlotte, Charlotte's just $1,000,000, but one of the things I like was when she hit the figure 8, she started kind of spider walking. I thought that was very cool. Go back and watch that match. I really enjoyed it. But nonetheless, at the end, Becky Lynch would come out and attack Charlotte and says, at Hell in a Cell, I'm getting my title back, and she used some colorful language, and the fans were cheering it. And then they started booing Charlotte as she was sitting in the ring. And I think Charlotte's so good with her facial expressions. I want to see what happens, because I think we have a potential double turn here. We can go ahead and do it. Go for the double turn. But moving on, staying with the women, Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella came out there and they started talking about everything they're going to do with the they're excited to be back, and they're going to be facing The Miz and Maurice at Hell in a Cell. And then Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega came out there, and Zelina Vega, obviously she's so good on the mic, started talking about Daniel Bryan and being in the ring with legends. And but then they started putting themselves over. I was hoping we was going to get a mixed tag team match, but we didn't. Instead, we got a one-on-one match, an incredible one at that, between Daniel Bryan and Cien Almas, until The Miz came out the ringside. Of course, that distracted Daniel Bryan. He would go out there and beat up on The Miz. Once he got back in the ring, that led to The Miz attacking him and getting a disqualification. So, wow. But during the match, we also saw, towards the end, we saw Zelina Vega try to be a distraction, and Brie Bella would go in and start, beating her up, which led to Maurice attacking Brie Bella from behind. So Miz and Maurice won, dare say. Yeah, this one. They're up on one on Daniel Bryan and Miz. Actually, you know what? They're probably even because of last week. But this match is going to take place at Hell in a Cell in a few weeks. Obviously, it's going to be interesting. Daniel Bryan and Miz, you can go with this story forever. I like how they're doing. I think would love to see, I should say, eventually the title be involved. I don't care who has the belt. But I would definitely like to see the title get involved in this one. Sticking with the women, Naomi took on Billie Kay tonight after last week she lost to Peyton Royce because Billie Kay cheated, and the same thing happened this week. So I want to see what happens. Will Naomi get some help? Will Tamina come back and maybe help Naomi? Who knows? I mean, everybody knows their family, but the best thing about this is all of the women are being used. Now, here's a bold prediction. I do think somewhere, somehow, we will see Lana and Naomi kind of join forces. If you pay attention on Instagram and social media, they kind of acknowledging there's a friendship there. Naomi was mad that Lana didn't take her to the Beyonce concert, so maybe Lana will make up for it and help her out. Obviously, because Rusev Day, no matter what, I don't think people are going to boo them either, so you might as well turn them face. So let me go ahead and take a break. Shout out, I'm going to come back. My boys from View from the Top Rope, they got a message for you.
Do you like professional wrestling, movies, sports, pop culture? Do you want to hear three wacky guys talk about any and all combinations of any of these things? Well, View from the Top Rope is the podcast for you. Releasing weekly on Thursdays, Diesel, JR, and myself, Chad, answer any and all questions from our amazing high flyers. Listen to View from the Top Rope only on the Visionaries Wrestling Network across iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and multiple others. View from the Top Rope, your favorite podcast. And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. View from the Top Rope. They will be at StarCast, and I was going to keep this as a special teaser, but the cat is already out of the bag because it's on social media. And in case you aren't following them at View from Top Rope, you will know that they have a special guest, and his name is the guy who approved and solidified the Wrestling Realms video. That is Easy E himself, Eric Bischoff. So make sure you tune in. I can't wait for that interview. Talk to Diesel. He said it was great. So I'm excited. But make sure you check them out. So while you're also checking things out, make sure, in case you didn't know, Wrestling for the Culture is now on YouTube. It's a YouTube show. So YouTube segment, I should say. So make sure you check that out each and every week on the Wrestling Realms YouTube page. Now, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe back at it. AJ basically, he's tired of Samoa Joe. Just keep mentioning his family's name. And then tonight on SmackDown, it didn't help because Samoa Joe was again saying, I'm going to invite me over to the family barbecue. He pretended to pick up the phone and call Wendy Jones and say, invite me to the barbecue. And man, that dude is funny. He knows how to pick with AJ Styles. And like I said, this one's hard to call because AJ Styles is hot right now. But if it's anybody who can take the title from him, it's Samoa Joe. Why? Because he is in his head, and that is what it takes to get the title off a guy like AJ Styles. You got to get in his head, and he's getting very personal. He's mentioning his family name, and that's just not a cool thing to do. But nonetheless, I think it's going to come down to AJ Styles maybe losing his cool at Hell in a Cell and Samoa Joe coming out with the victory. Moving on, speaking of titles, the New Day celebrated being the 5-time tag team champions. And then when you say 5-time, as I said last week, there's one person who that word is synonymous with, and that is Booker T. Booker T joined the New Day and came out, and he basically came out as King Booker. And you could see the New Day kind of bow to their highness. And he solidified them, told them, welcome to the 5-time club. So, very good thing for the New Day. And then they would be commentators in a tag team match that featured Primo and Epico, featured them, The Bar, and Anderson and Gallows, triple threat tag team match at that. The Bar, obviously, with the win. Those guys are, they're good. And yes, I will admit, I did not like them when they first started. I didn't like the tag team. I wanted Cesaro to be Dolo.
But unfortunately, we didn't get that. So next week, we'll have another triple threat tag team match, and that will be Rusev Day taking on the Usos, taking on Sanity. I'm going to go ahead now and say Rusev Day wins the match. Moving on, Jeff Hardy has challenged Randy Orton to a Hell in a Cell match, and it was accepted by General Manager Paige. Jeff Hardy says, he's obviously, it's a lot of history between them two. Jeff Hardy's just sick of Randy Orton and his ways, his sadistic ways, folks. I can't wait to see what happens between these two. I mean, we got Jeff Hardy in a Hell in a Cell match. Not sure how good that's going to be. It's going to be crazy. I don't think he'll jump off the cell and hit a swanton, but you never know. I mean, the guy's over 40, but you really just never know what this guy will do. So, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up this edition of Break It Down with Brian H. Like I said at the top, make sure you subscribe to the show on YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher. Make sure you're following us at Wrestling Realm. Make sure you're following me at Brian H. Waters. So long, everybody.